Welcome to MyMostLife.com's Ahead of the Curve series. Each week, we feature someone who's inspiring others and making a difference. This week, we have... Hi, welcome to the Ahead of the Curve series with My Most Life. We have featured today Barbara Blevins, who is the President of Integrated Operations at Team Health, which is a publicly traded healthcare organization. And Barbara has a very wide and successful career as a healthcare executive, being CEO of hospitals and health systems. And she's going to share with us today aspects of leadership under the theme of togetherness. And Barbara, welcome to the Ahead of the Curve series.
Thank you, Maureen. Happy to be here.
Great, thanks. Well, we have a few questions for you, Barbara, and I know we've spoken in the past about some of your successes in togetherness and teamwork, and I might also mention that you were an award winner for What's Good in Healthcare by the Studer Group recently, and that was a very exciting aspect to kind of your career and bringing teams together and being a Team Health alum. I know what a great job you do at Team Health and bringing teams together. So tell us a little bit about your current role and just kind of what you're up to there at Team Health and what you're responsible for.
Yeah, sure, Maureen. As you said, I'm the president of Integrated Operations here. I've been here for 6 years. Basically what that means, Team Health has a paired leadership model. We have physician leaders and business people paired together. And obviously I'm a business leader. The EVPs across the organization from all the different service lines actually report to me, as well as support services for Team Health that supports the entire organization. So I'm thrilled to be here. It's a great organization.
Great. So everyone who's running one of your operations in the field reports directly up to you. So you're basically running the show day to day.
Well, I don't know if you would say that, but it's a big organization.
Right. Right.
But I do have business leaders from all the service lines and all the services across the country who report to me. It's a great opportunity for me. I feel blessed to be here.
Right. Awesome. Great. So I know that togetherness has made a difference in not only how you lead and how you bring teams together. We talked about in the past an instance where it really shone through how a team can rally together. Can you tell us about an instance that you had in your past where you were able to bring a team together and really generate some big successes together?
Yeah, particularly one in particular, Maureen. I have spent my entire career in healthcare, and I'm going on my 40th year now. I know I don't look like it, but I've been in health systems and hospitals the entire time until the last 6 years. And I had been in organizations where I realize now that I had been a maintainer. And so I had the opportunity in 2000 to go into a position as president of a full behavioral continuum, a service line I knew little to nothing about, and also taught me that you can go into an organization where you don't know a lot about that service line, but if you know people and you know finance, you can make it work. And so I'd been a CFO for years as well. And so this organization asked me to join them, and it was a tough environment. We had it within our health system for 4 years. We had lost multi-millions every year. And so I went into the organization knowing that it was a turnaround situation. Again, knowing nothing about behavioral service line. And when I got there, I found things like a 43% employee turnover rate, poor patient satisfaction, poor, obviously, employee engagement. We were turning away potential patients at the door because we didn't have beds or services for them. And so I realized real quickly, not having that background, I needed other people. Certainly, one, to learn the business, to help me learn the business. And then it was in a disastrous state. And so I needed people to work with me at the table with me to help turn that around. And so there were days when I asked myself why I was there. There were days I closed the door and put my head on the desk, I'll be honest with you, and said, have I made a mistake? Should I have never done this? And just like with every organization, there were some wonderful people there, and there were some people that just were either on the wrong bus or in the wrong seats on the bus, and so had to make some changes pretty early on just to get us going. And one of the most important things I think I did, Maureen, was you have to fake it till you make it sometimes. So I help the people there believe that we could turn it around. And so that's where it starts, belief that it's possible. These were people that didn't know if they were going to get a paycheck every 2 weeks. They were worried the business was going to close. The services were really important to the community. And I knew we had to save it. So we had a burning platform, which is something that's so important, I think, to make and change. Either you have one or you need to create one. Well, we had one. So through that process, moving some people off the bus, moving some people to other seats, bringing some people in from the outside, I realized how we had to work together so they could teach me the business. Maybe I could teach them some about people and managing people and leading people. And then the finances, I knew a lot about that. I had a CFO background as well. So long story short, through all that, it was the best experience really of my life. We got that turnover rate from 43% down to 12. We drove up our patient sat. We increased our business by 100%.
Wow.
And long story short, we saved that business. We saved that service, which is so needed for that community.
Right.
Great experience.
Yeah, it's a terrific story, and I think if I can pull out some of the things you said, obviously having the right team members allows that togetherness and that team to actually function. If you have some of the wrong team members, there's a lot of discord in pulling a team together. So you had to obviously make some choices about the team members, and that belief, that whole belief process, people really believing that they can. Obviously, it comes from the leader. You have to instill upon people not only the can do, but that you can get through and you can actually achieve the things that you're thinking about, which is vision. And I think as an excellent leader, you distill vision on the right team members, and you can take them almost anywhere.
The other thing you have to have through this process, I learned, because they had been beaten down so much for the last 4 years when they were struggling, was I knew we couldn't wait for the win at the end of the year or 2 or 3. We needed some small wins. We needed something just keep them inspired and motivated to believe, we can do this. We can do this. So we celebrated the smallest of wins early on, and that got people going because they hadn't experienced any of that in the 4 years they'd struggled.
So giving people regular and frequent motivation and inspiration along the way kept them on that path.
Yeah,
that's terrific.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think you and I have probably spoken about this in the past as well, but making sure that you are celebrating positive achievements along the way is so important. Not to just keep going after the next thing, but to take time to have some celebration and recognition along the way is important.
Of course.
Yeah. So, I think that from a motivation and from getting a team to get on the right page, that's a very inspiring story. As a leader, I find that a lot of folks say to me, I'm used to basically doing my job, and I'm not sure how to transition from being a doer to basically leading a team. Can you talk a little bit about that transition? You probably made that at some point in your career as well. But I think a lot of folks need kind of some understanding how one makes that transition to a leader from an excellent doer.
Yeah. I really believe you never move from just one to the other. I think you've always got to keep your finger on the pulse. But there comes a time when you have to realize, regardless of how smart you are, how smart you think you are, you're still one person. There's still 24 hours in every day. There's still just 7 days in every week. And no matter how good you are, there's just so much one person can achieve. And so you have to realize that it takes more than you to get something big done. And one of the things I like to say is even if you think you're the best thing ever, if you can produce at 100%, but 10 people around you could all produce at 85%, where are you better off? Mm-hmm. You're better off with the 10 at 85 or 90%. And so being in a situation like this one I was in really probably forced me to think that through, because I knew it was bigger than me. Mm-hmm. It was bigger than me. I could not do it alone. And it made me realize that you've got to have people who are different than you around the table. We all have a tendency to be attracted to and drawn to people who are similar to us. And that's not how you develop a good team. You need various skills and beliefs and around that table so that you can produce the results that you're after. And that was an awakening for me, too. I know I was bad at that early on in my career, attracted to people more like me. Mm-hmm. And it takes all of us. I'll tell you a really quick story that helped me understand that. Sure. I was in an OD class of high-level professionals, and we spent a week together. And I remember we were given a team of us were given a problem, and I figured it out, or I thought I figured it out right away. And I was one of the talkers, right? I was one of the talkers at the table, and I convinced that table of what the answer was, where we needed to go. Well, when we got back together, and the leader of the OD group explained what the real answer was, I realized there was a person on our team that was very quiet, very introverted, but this man had the answer, and I didn't pay any attention to him. I just bullied my way right through to the end because I thought I knew what needed to be done because I've been in those situations before. He had the answer. I didn't pay any attention. I convinced the group my answer was best. It was like an aha moment for me, that you better be paying attention to people who are different from you, maybe don't speak as loudly as you, and you need to pull some of that out of people. So that was an aha moment for me back in the late 90s.
Wow, that's actually a very powerful story, Barbara. And I know a lot of people who probably have achieved a little bit more than the rest, more than likely have a little bit more of a dominating personality, because sometimes that's what, you know, those people are more driven and, you know, kind of it's in their nature to achieve something. But you're so right. I think, and there was a recent book written about this. I can't remember the name of it now, but about introverts basically have so much to give, and that our society, or, you know, just basically in general, talking up is what's valued. And sometimes when people don't have that skill set or that personality, their gifts and their value has a hard time shining. So having that awareness, I'm sure you've brought people out and had team members contribute that might have otherwise sat around a table and just nodded their head.
I never miss an opportunity for that anymore. Never. After that one scenario, because I'll never forget that guy. I'll never forget him. And I thought, man, Barbara, you need to learn to keep your mouth shut. You need to listen. 2 ears, 1 mouth.
Yeah, right.
2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
Right.
And so I'm very sensitive to that now. In every group, if there's somebody that's not speaking, I will pull them out because, you know, that might be the guy or the gal with the answer.
Right. Right. I've had people ask me, what's the number one leadership tip that you would give someone? And I always say asking questions.
Yeah. Great answer.
Yeah. So are there other elements that you find in kind of working with the team or togetherness? I mean, you gave us such great examples and stories to focus on and to get inspired by. Is there anything else that you think of that comes to your mind as far as working with a team and getting people together to achieve something great?
Yeah, a couple of things. Luckily, in the scenario that I just described to you, we had a burning platform, right? We knew multi-millions lost every year, the business could close, service was valued to the community, we had to save it, so I got it, the team got it. But there are times when it isn't as obvious what the platform is. And so I said before, it's important that you have a vision. You have where you need to go. And I'll never forget a lady I worked with back during that same time asked me one day, she said, Barbara, when we get to the promised land, she said, what's that look like? Describe that to me. And that was another aha moment for me. it all hinges upon your ability to articulate in words to people a picture that can be painted so they can get their arms and their head around what that promised land, what that
Mm-hmm.
other side, what that future better state looks like. Because then they can get then you produce dissatisfaction with the current state and they want to go to that other place. So that's one thing. A couple other things, and I love the kind of work I do because I love people.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
I love people, and I think leaders should love people,
Uh-huh.
care for people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it should never get in the way of doing what's best for the organization overall, because if you do what's right for one, but you're doing what's bad for the other 12, that's not good. But you should really love and care about people as individuals and want them to do well. And part of that love and caring, passion, translates to having the courage to tell them what's on the back of their t-shirt, all in the spirit of wanting that person to improve and take their blinders off and to be better and to do better. So I think that's something that's really really important. So having the courage to share with people and for people to believe and know that you're doing that because you care about them and want them to be better, want them to do better, want them to be a higher performing member of the team, which drives forward the performance of that whole team. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a couple of things I think that's really important. The courage, having the ability to confront and deal with and
Right.
talk through those kinds of things with people without holding it back and letting it fester, and that's just so unhealthy.
Yeah.
And I learned that a few years ago as well.
Right. Wow. Such great stuff. Really. Thank you very much for all of that. I know that you're top of your game. You're a terrific leader. You're in a very large organization. You have to have all this experience and have all of these approaches down right to do your job well, and you certainly do that. What inspires you to live your most life, to keep all the aspects of your life kind of going in the right direction?
I have a spiritual me. My deep spiritual faith, I think, helps me to realize how lucky I am. I have a wonderful husband, and I have three children I'm so proud of. I have a second year psychiatry resident son, and my daughter just finished medical school, wants to be an emergency physician, and I have a neonatal intensive care nurse. I'm so proud of them and the choices that they've made. And the other thing is I grew up very blue collar, Maureen, and so I don't take for granted anything I am or anything I have.
Mm-hmm.
Try to make sure every day I'm grateful for what I am, for my good health, for
Mm-hmm.
my family, for my work. I'll pinch myself at least weekly with how lucky and blessed I am to be where I am, to do what I do, to have what I have, and the most important thing there is my health and my husband and my children and all that's good with them. So um, life is short. I lost both my parents the last since I've worked for Team Health, and
Mm.
that gave me a whole different perspective of how precious life is. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just really important to balance the personal and the professional. And you've always, when you get upset or you get a little stressed at work, you need to be able to rise above that and go, how big is this in the scheme of things? Is this world ending? It's probably not. It may be important, and it helps you gauge the amount of energy and effort and stress that you need to give to a particular situation. So all those things I think together have helped balance me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest with you, that behavioral situation I just talked to you about, I did that for 6 years.
Mm.
That helped me. That helped me because I saw children with parents that looked just like me, and I thought, how'd that happen?
Mm.
And I'm blessed that I haven't had to deal with that kind of thing personally. I'm so blessed, but it puts life into perspective for you. What's really important?
Yeah, right. And being grateful and knowing that you're blessed, kind of regardless. I know that sometimes we do wonder how did I get to be so lucky or to have a fortunate life or to have so many blessings. And certainly the good work that you're doing and passing on your gifts and your talents to others is certainly one of those things. I believe that when we're blessed with so much, we're, called to action and called to inspire and give to others, and you've certainly done that. And what a great interview we've had today. Really, this has been such great information and really inspiring stuff. And I know that folks are going to really get a lot of value out of watching this interview. So I really appreciate, Barbara, you sharing all that you did today and your time today. So I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. It was my pleasure. Maureen, you taught me something when you and I worked together, and you taught me about giving back to other women, and there are things I need to do. I need to do more in that regard. We have some women downstairs. We have a group downstairs right now. And a young woman came up to me yesterday. She's a facility medical director at one of our places, and she asked about creating whether it's Jammer or whatever for women in these positions so they can together, maybe some mentorship of them. So I haven't done that yet, and how important that kind of thing is. But I'm going to do that in 2015. I'm going to do something for the women of Team Health that's a little different than anything we've done up to now. And I thank you for helping to inspire me to do that as well.
Well, you're welcome, and I'm not sure where that came from, but you're certainly welcome, and it's been my pleasure. And I'll just say for the record, Barbara, I certainly enjoyed working with you for the time that we had the opportunity to do that. I'm so happy that you joined me on this journey that I'm taking now to help inspire hopefully more folks on learning from great folks around the country, actually the world. I've had some folks outside the U.S. on our Ahead of the Curve series, and I really appreciate you stopping by and sharing all of your wisdom and your experience with us. So thank you very much.
Totally my pleasure, Maureen.